Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I am Teresa Micheletti, the Marketing and Social Media Manager for Detour, which makes the Cyrcle Phone ready and beautiful here. So I'm going to field most of our questions to our CEO, Christina Sear, who founded the company in 2015, I believe. Christina, if that was wrong, please correct. Um, and I will let her continue on from there. Here we are. Hello, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
I can, so I imagine they can as well.
Great. So I am a little tired this morning because I stayed up till 3 a.m. last night working on a hardware issue, not on the Cyrcle Phone, but on a completely different project. And when you put together a hardware project and the directions online are completely outdated and not even correct, and I was running into that issue as well, and I had bricked the LCD I was working with, and then finally I was like, okay, well, can't get any worse from here. And so then I just forgot the direction, put the directions aside, and I actually just hooked it up the way that I thought it should be hooked up, and it worked. After struggling like a week on it, and I was so happy, so I stayed up until 3 a.m. to put all the kind of finishing touches on it. So I'm really excited to get that done, but a little bleary-eyed this morning. Today we're talking about 3D modeling software. So if you have not started 3D modeling yet in your life, this is a great kind of intro. We're just going to scratch the surface here on kind of the software that's available out today. And, maybe it'll help you decide which modeling software you would like to start with. So I just wanted to go over my biases first for the 3D modeling software. So for me, I was looking to build enclosures for my hardware design. So I wanted a more industrial design software. And when I first started out, I was pointed to Sketchup, which is more kind of an architectural building piece of software. It's fantastic and very easy to use. And I'm very grateful to the person who pointed me to start in that direction because of just how easy it was to use. As I moved along, I had more needs in my kind of industrial designs, and so I needed to find a different piece of software for that. So I kind of bumbled around on various different 3D modeling softwares and tried them out. And then Autodesk Fusion 360 combined with the EDA software that I was using to lay out traces on our printed circuit boards, which is called Eagle. And so those two pieces of software combined during my journey. And I'm so grateful because after that, I was introduced to Fusion 360 in that way. And then that's kind of been my journey thus far. So just to give you an idea of kind of the popularity of software out there, kind of what people are using in the industrial design space. So I put a Twitter poll out this week, and we had about 100 respondents, and nearly half of them say that they use Autodesk Fusion 360, and that's probably skewed because probably most of my network uses Autodesk Fusion 360. And then a quarter of them use Solidworks, and then another quarter of them use an open source piece of 3D modeling software like Blender. So one thing to consider when you're deciding which 3D modeling software to dive into is what industry you're going into. So for example, if you are going into animation, 3D animation, you probably want to check out Blender. It's extremely powerful. It's open source, all the good guys use it. And it has been used for several different movies and films that are very popular today. So it looks like it can really scale from the very beginner to the very advanced. So we actually have an example of Blender today that Teresa has installed. So Teresa, do you want to go ahead and give that a go?
Absolutely.
And so this one's Autodesk Fusion 360.
Wrong one.
But
Sorry.
it's okay. And we'll show that one next, just because I'm more familiar with that one. So I kind of sprung this on Teresa like 15 minutes before we were going live. I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool for, you know, maybe to walk the audience through, you know, just the experience as a new person experiencing the software as a, you know, first time user. And I was like, Teresa, do you mind? Would you be game to install these pieces of software? And it turns out that Teresa has like drafting experience. So she was like using these pieces of software more fluently than I was from the get-go.
Basic
So
features, very basic. It's been a
I was
while since I used any of that.
sorry. So I was really impressed. You know, things that she picked up instantly took me like a week to learn. So here we have Blender, and Blender's really cool because even from the get-go, when you open up a new file, it already has a rectangle in the space, which you can remove and, you know, build from scratch, or you can just play with the rectangle. So I think, Teresa, on the left toolbar, on the left pane or left side, I think you have yeah, that's moving. Is the one above that? Oh, you can try the moving one and then click on the red axis and see if you can, yeah, move
So
it
this
in the red
is
axis.
where it sits on the axis.
Right. I'm trying to figure out. So I just installed Blender for the first time this morning myself, and I didn't really get it. I actually had to go watch a YouTube video just on what Blender was all about. And then after I found out that it was more about animation than industrial design, then I could really appreciate kind of all the shading and kind of highlighting of all the edges that Blender offers. It also offers a lot of in the way of like painting features and things like that. So I was really excited to play with it after I just watched their like 2-minute intro video about that. But I think right above the move selection, what is that? I can't read it from because
Yes, so it says cursor. Set the cursor location. Drag to transform.
Okay.
Set that here.
Even when you click on the, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remember what I clicked on, but anyways, whatever I clicked on allowed us to morph the rectangle into different dimensions. So that was really handy. And I swear it was in that toolbar. Maybe it was below the circle icon.
Transform? No. Oh, no. Below the circle.
Yep.
Scale.
Yep, that's it. So if you click on the cube and then click on, yeah, one of the axes. Yep.
There we are. Sorry, everybody. I'm having a hard time finding that.
No. I was misleading you there. Okay, cool. So I really liked Blender in that it was easy to manipulate the surfaces, which is very, very important. Do you mind if we switch to, so that I could share a screen just to show Sketchup free quickly?
Let me see if I can. That's a new request. Let's
Okay,
see
I'm gonna
here.
try to do this.
Yeah, that added a box on my end. Nice. Okay.
Cool.
Oops.
Okay, great.
This is something
And I
that
thought I
happened.
had, oh, that's not cool.
Here.
I didn't want to
I'll just
share all
find the
that.
right spot.
Here it is. Okay.
And it jumped
So
early. Yeah.
SketchUp Free is really cool because it is pretty easy to use. So for example, we can just draw a rectangle here from this origin, and then we can just push up, and then we already have a rectangle that we can modify. So like I said, this is the piece of software that I started with, and it was super intuitive, very easy for me to use, and got me very far along my 3D modeling journey until I needed more. So if you're looking for a piece of software that's extremely easy to pick up, I highly recommend SketchUp. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now, and then I'll be more careful about what windows I share out in the future. Okay, and then let's go ahead and jump to Autodesk. So Teresa, if you don't mind showing off that one.
Absolutely.
And then Teresa and I were going over this right before we went live. So Autodesk is a little bit more complicated to get going on, but it's extremely powerful. So for example, you know, I believe you can just go ahead and draw a box on Autodesk Fusion, but it's kind of not how any of us ever use it. So Teresa, do you mind walking us through going through constructing a plane? So on the toolbar, the fourth from the right side, there's an icon that says construct an offset plane. Thank you. And then if you go ahead and click on one of those planes, so whether it's in the Y, X, or Z, yep. And then you can go ahead and offset it however far you want.
Let's go 5 millimeters.
Great. So that lets the program know that we're working in this particular plane. So then if you right click on that square that's highlighted and select Create Sketch. So because we're streaming to StreamYard, it made the background go black when we did the right click, but normally that doesn't happen. So when you're not hosting in StreamYard, don't worry, the whole screen does not go black. So right now we are in the sketch area. So it's kind of like a subdomain. And thank you. Teresa's going to create a rectangle here from the Create toolbar. Perfect. And when you are...
Real quick, it snapped those grid lines.
Yes.
That is a feature you can turn on and off. Over, let's see, oops, I have to click to, over in the right side, that sketch palette in options, there you can turn off the grid, you turn it on, you can have where you're drawing snap to those lines. So just wanted to let everybody know, if you're trying to do something not on the lines, you can definitely turn that snap off. All right.
So fantastic. And then you can go ahead and finish this sketch, unless you want to add anything more. Cool.
I'm happy enough with this.
Okay. Great. And then we can pull this into a cube, or into a box rather. Nice.
Need to press it. There we are.
And so the controls are a little wonky because we're streaming via StreamYard, but you can kind of get the gist.
Yeah, so you just had to say, yes, I want to pull it.
Perfect.
And then you can set exactly how far you want it to go by measurement if you are ready.
Yeah. So, and the reason why planes and sketches are really important is because Autodesk Fusion 360 has this great feature where you can take advantage of parametric modeling. And what that means is, so for example, you could change a corner of this box and kind of affect the rest of the design. So it's more kind of like molding something with your hands, but in order to be able to do all of that complex geometry, you do need to, define a plane. You do need to define a sketch in order to make all those things work. The other piece that Autodesk Fusion 360 excels at is stress testing. So, for example, you can run simulations and show where your design is being stressed, either with the strength or temperature. You can even designate what materials it's made out of and things like that. So it's excellent for industrial design. So with all of this in mind, you may be interested to know that a lot of people in the industry either use Autodesk Fusion 360 or they use another piece of software, which we're not featuring today, called Solidworks. And Solidworks is the traditional industrial design piece of software in my mind. So for example, if you were to go to a large corporation and they were doing 3D modeling in industrial design, it would probably be, you would probably be using SolidWorks. And the reason for that is that a lot of us who can't afford SolidWorks is quite a bit pricier than Autodesk Fusion 360. So Autodesk Fusion 360 is a couple $100s, but SolidWorks is quite a bit more expensive. But because of that, I've noticed that frequently when people progress through the different pieces of software, kind of once they go to SolidWorks, they kind of stay in SolidWorks. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're looking at various pieces of software to begin with, and maybe grow with, and then maybe advance to. So I'm super fond of Fusion 360 because it's affordable. It has all the industrial tools that I need so far. But when you kind of get into the corporate space, you may be using Autodesk Fusion 360. I know a lot of design houses that we've talked to on our journey with the Cyrcle Phone, they use Fusion 360. But other firms which have been around a lot longer, they're using SolidWorks. And I've seen several mechanical engineers who we contract with, they will move between the two pieces of software. So that's kind of an overview for those of you who maybe are thinking about getting into 3D modeling and are not sure which piece of software to try out. Basically, I would just dive in and, for example, if your school is using a particular piece of software, just go ahead and get really good at that piece of software because they will be providing the support and the tutoring you need for that particular piece of software. And you can apply that knowledge when you jump from one piece of software to the next. Although I found that when I change from one piece of software to the next, it does take me quite a while to get back up to speed. So I think that happens with anything, but you know, whether you're trying a new piece of software or trying a new motorcycle that's different than your old motorcycle, yeah, definitely it's a new paradigm to get used to. So those are all of the things that we're going to go over today. I'm looking at our list. We also have a couple links to share out. So 3D Natives wrote an excellent list of 3D modeling software for beginners. So we will share it in the comments after the live stream. And that was just really well done. Another excellent list, and this is a comprehensive list according to industry of 3D modeling software, and that was written by all3dp.com. We will also share that in the comments as well. So for example, if you are going into 3D animation, I would definitely check out that list and check out which pieces of software that they list for 3D animation. If you're going into industrial design, please check out their list of industrial design 3D modeling software choices. We only scratched the surface today with just a couple of choices today, but I really wanted to feature Blender because it's a very popular piece of open source 3D modeling software. I wanted to feature Fusion 360 because, of course, it's the one that I use all the time, but also my community, half of my community uses it as well. And also mentioned SolidWorks because it seems to be an industry standard. And then of course Sketchup because I started there. So those are all the ones that we're talking about today. I did want to remind you that we are running an enclosure design contest for the Cyrcle Phone on MyMiniFactory. So you would be designing an enclosure like this or completely different than this for this round display. We've seen some excellent submissions so far. So we are 2 weeks into the contest, and we saw one by a woman named Rachel. She actually had swappable discs from the back of the phone so that you could swap them out and customize them very easily. And that was a great idea because you could screw those in and screw those out very easily without, disturbing any other parts of the phone. We really like that idea. We also had one of our first submissions, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, but such great innovation around the outside of the case where not only it was not round, but and I want to say I'm going to get his name wrong, but anyways, he didn't make this round at all. It was actually in different shapes, but still extremely easy to hold. So it fit really well in your hand, and I'm really excited to 3D print those out and really kind of feel tactily what they feel like. Thank you very much, Joseph Brannick. Thank you so much, Teresa, for sharing that. I really wanted to give a shout out to him because he was our first submission, and not only did he do this red and white one, I don't know if you can click through to his orange and yellow using the arrows on the side. Yes. So both of these designs, very innovative, I felt, but also very comfortable in the hand. So really excited to see that. So we would love for you to enter the contest, show us what you can do with your new or experienced 3D modeling skills. We provide the base that you can build everything around, so it's really easy. You just upload the base component. We kind of shared it out in one blob, so you upload that one blob, and then you just build around that one blob. So it makes it a lot easier for designing. Thank you. And then this is a capture of the back of our enclosure that we have currently on the phone. So what you're seeing here is this back piece. So with the back camera peeking out of it, and then it also has a holder for the battery in the back. So we are huge advocates of the right to repair. So being able to swap out your battery is very important to us. Currently, we have screws which fasten. So we have 4 screws, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, 1 on the side, and 1 on the side. It's difficult to see, I know. Let's see. Yep. Can show you the tiny one on the bottom. And we give you the measurements for those screws in the competition page. Teresa, I don't know if we can take a look at that competition page just to show them the specifications for that. But MyMiniFactory hosts hundreds of design competitions. And so thank you, Teresa. Oh, this is a kind of a cool view. I haven't seen this yet. So MyMiniFactory hosts hundreds of competitions, encouraging people to design and feature their designs and win prizes for their designs. And our particular contest, you can win a Creality Ender 3 Pro 3D printer. So we have 3 different categories that you can win a prize for. You can win a prize for the exterior of your design, the interior of your design, because industrial engineering is really important to us, and also the durability of your design. So, you know, do the components crack if we dropped them within your design? So we're really excited that people have started already submitting their designs for this competition. We are excited to be halfway through the competition. The competition runs through July 31st, and we'll be promoting it every week, especially on these AMAs. So please join us. Please show us what you can do and upload your design. So Teresa, do you have anything more to add before we close this out? Okay, and then I just wanted to mention Teresa's in a public space, so she's wearing her mask today, and Teresa and her family have produced, gosh, how many masks have you produced, do you think?
We have donated 273 at the last count, and those went to the hospital, the farm workers in Eastern Washington, because we do need food and want to support them, and also the Navajo Nation, who've been hit particularly hard. There's a specific woman who is leading the charge on that, so we wanted to add to her numbers and help get her to the goal, and keep them safe as possible.
So fantastic. Thank you so much to you and your family for doing that. I appreciate it so much.
The world needs helpers.
Pardon me?
The world needs helpers.
Yes, the world needs help. The world needs all of us right now to get through what we've all been going through. So thank you for joining today. We're so happy to see you, and we hope that we provided some learning for you. Please care and share this AMA. About an hour or 2 after we go live, it does get saved to our YouTube and Facebook channels. If you could please reshare, we would really appreciate it. So I'd like to close us out with a thought. This year, we've experienced a lot of change, protests, and uncomfortability in our lives. And I think it's good to be uncomfortable because it inspires us to change. I think our society will not be the same from this year, and I think it actually will get better. So I really appreciate the opportunity for growth, even as uncomfortable as it is right now. I was listening to my friend Nnamdi Nwazapu's University of Good podcast this past week. And the University of Good helps imperfect people learn how to live happier and healthier lives. And I was listening to episode 134, which was on how to stop being afraid. It was really helping me out, especially with everything that's been going on. And in this episode, Namdi read from Pema Chodron's book, When Things Fall Apart. And I would like to read an excerpt from that as our closing. So the next time you experience fear, consider yourself lucky. This is where courage comes in. Usually we think that brave people have no fear. The truth is that they are intimate with fear. The trick is to keep exploring and not bail out, even when we find out something is not what we thought. So I feel like that kind of sums up this year, that we need to not bail out and to embrace the fear, embrace the change, and embrace the uncomfortability of the year, and find new paths of growth for us as individuals and as a society. So on that note, I'd like to close. Thank you so much for joining us today, and be well.